Hey everyone, in this video I want to explain something about our design, our human design for our soul to express and expand. And a lot of us might know this or have hints to it, but it's something to consider, that as we have the 7 main chakra consciousness levels, the colors you can see behind me, we're born with these vortices for our soul functioning from the other side to here. And so we have this rainbow of color, electrically charged and pulsed, one with the universe, taken care of, always known that we're here as this soul entity in this spiritual design form. And so as you go through life, each of those chakra consciousness are designed more to come online. So the point of this video is, through age and experience, we can go through various lessons of these consciousness levels as unique eternal souls, but there is a point of evolution and progression at each level. So when you do learn something, it's not like you can unlearn it and be an older version of yourself. So for me, at 49, 50 in like 8 months' time, I'm now up at the crown chakra consciousness. It's about 7 or 8 years where each design, and this is part of the past as well. So as the energy shifts and change and we become more aware of our light bodies, things speed up in a way that it's just all part of progression rather than looking at it through time periods. So more like a one whole portal rather than 7 more obvious learning individual levels, because it just becomes like a given nature of understanding once we understand that we are a light design functioning. And you're going to go through things in life to do with each levels of these consciousness. So the importance for me talking about it is because I'm at the crown chakra, or going from the third eye to the crown. I've progressed through various understandings and lessons of each of these consciousness that we're all going to go through. Like from the solar plexus, you're going to break out of ego identity and more into spiritual soul by going through, because they're all functioning at once obviously, but one is coming more online because it's necessary for your soul's progression and path. So like around the age of young adult, by the age of 20, the solar plexus is going through the understanding of itself, the soul, the understanding of itself that the outside world and the interior world can have discrepancies with what I've learnt so far about myself. I might think I'm this and I now have this job or this relationship, but inside I have other things that are growing and want to express. And various discrepancies happen in life with that. And we have to rise in consciousness for our internal world expression. So various things can happen around that age, as we all know, and up to 30 as well. When you're going through the heart learning of giving and receiving in the world, and what you've learnt from a young age of giving and receiving. Do you easily give and receive? Do you let people into your life easy or not? You know, various things have gone on for each of us. So we're each going to learn something for the lighter progression of our higher nature. So our spirit in body form also has the higher nature resonance of spirit form to help guide us. So our higher self. And the more we act from that, the easier our spirit guides, and then our progression with our consciousness, more infinite guidance, is available through our form from us reaching for higher perspectives or seeing things differently. From a higher nature. So you don't battle the outside as such. You connect inside and with soul family or soul companions or spiritual companions that you're drawn to for learning of yourself in a different way. Because life is not linear. You know, we're abruptly learning that now. That, like, for instance, the human progression is where you may have had walls up with life, you will, through your consciousness development and the soul human path, have to pull down a wall sometimes, or all of them, because your soul's got to progress. And so I can't go back down to, say, my old throat chakra resonance or my old identities as I was growing up. Like, you know, because in the linear to the multi-dimensional perspective, we just think we are just this. And that's fine, because you are progressing, expanding, and evolving. So you take all the gifts of life in that, but now it's just whoosh. The youth and us are like, there's no going back to linear expression. Like, it's just like, okay, that's a given. Like, you can look at something and that's what you see, but you know there's way more happening. So, like, the lessons I've mentioned with the identity at the solar plexus, getting through the heart consciousness of, these are all very real things too. So it's like a lot of these things we've kind of ignored as being important factors of understanding, that they're very important to the soul's evolution. So it's not like we can just shut the door on give and receive. It's not like we can just be one thing our whole lives. We learn these things. And then when it gets to the truth, the throat chakra, it's designed for us to be honest with ourselves and not just buy into what's been created so far in the world in any respect. Anything that we feel crushed at, that we have to conform or have to put up with, and not actually express the soul when it, or the spirit, you know, the vehicle, the person, the spirit and soul, not express themselves therefore not learn the lessons and grow. That this is required of you. So you really have to watch at each of these levels for the ego identity, for the safety and security of the ego identity. The energy of the ego has been overused because we haven't expanded ourselves in these understandings. So we just push on with the outside world is predominantly this ego shell identity of us doing battle in the world, you know, like pushing through, like this is who I am and this is who I am and this is, you know, how I identify myself, this is what I have. In that respect, it's going to keep you devolved if you don't learn the lessons and break out when you can feel it. You know it. Like the third eye is about knowing. You just know something, because like the last video I did, when you know something at the third eye and you sit back and observe life just for a little bit and appreciate that pause, that there is a multi-dimensional aspect at play that's going on, you're going to feel it down to the gut and rise back up in communication here, that your soul wants, naturally wants to offer something or do something. So like you've got a truthful expression to come out. You've got, it's okay for me to give of myself and receive back feedback. And because this is my soul, you know, the solar plexus identity. So it's like a following through of this. So if we don't, then we could just go round and round and down even in the same levels, searching for ourselves, when it's really a expression, relationship, learning of how we express ourselves in this conscious evolution. So honesty is needed with yourself, with the education of yourself, and you don't want, if you don't feel like you're growing, then ego is probably involved. If you feel like you might be always held back from something, then ego is probably involved. So there'll be some taking time to shed some of yourself that has been getting in the way of your own path. Because naturally the soul wants to evolve, and we're just shedding our 3D skins that have been getting in the way. And you could also call this to the effect of cognitive dissonance. So as we shed, we still have the old to fall away, and we might identify with it still or reach for it still, because it's old energy. But now that's speeding up as well, so we could step through big things quicker because of this light evolution. Anyway, so I wanted to express that main point because in my life, I've noticed, especially once you're getting up to the natural evolving, because you've done the work for your soul's path, spiritual path, in these lessons, you see differently, your energy is expanded, you appreciate these levels at a more refined kind of nature, because they are truly set up for us and absolutely magnificent. Like the feeling states the human can get to from appreciating the whole, the wholeness design of the whole, the appreciation of life, like. And so I recommend doing that as much as you can, to sit back in a little bit of gratefulness of things that perhaps you just let slide by each day, because it changes your energy field and it assists your growth through these things. And so that's why things like prayer and community are really good for that, because it gets the being appreciating life somewhat. But it's where we've gotten kind of carried away with our spiritual understanding of life, is we walk away from any form of community, probably sometimes more distracted with a problem than with appreciating, right? And I know they're opposite energies, but if we get stuck in problem mentality and like we've got stuck in God, how could he let this happen, or where's the savior, or why is this happening to me? This is where we haven't had the conscious evolution of appreciation. We are lucky to be here. We have this design. What more to us? Not what more to what's going to save us in this exterior world. Okay, what more can we understand of ourselves to feel better, to connect more? In the learning of each other, of ourselves. So when we connect, we learn something of someone else, but it also is a connection to learn of ourself. And I think acknowledgement of that is important, that there is a self that is growing. And through relationship, because it's a relationship planet, this is how we learn. This is how we experience contrast to know ourselves. But don't let the ego get involved too much in contrast, as in get stuck in division. It's just to lightly love and perhaps strongly learn something. We can't sort of take out things on the outside world, because we're all just here learning something. So I may have got off track there, but the main point of this is I know that I can't go back to older versions of myself, because in the learning, there's too much more to share of the extended version of reality and not the linear perspective. And that's why, we have this light consciousness evolution now. Because we have been banging our heads on walls, really, as to dealing with life. It just pretty much can go straight to blame, or we're doing something wrong. But really, there's no one to blame, and we're doing our best in like constant life's evolution of learning things. So now we're just all getting on board with the understanding that if you learn about the different levels of our design, you can compare your choices with, is ego taking over these and putting me out of balance? And this is across the board with life, because you never not have that choice to make. Like, Do I make a limited, egoic kind of choice? Or do I remember I'm pretty lucky to be here with this universal design, and I'm going to make the most of it and learn who I am and stand up for that and rise and strengthen this as a part of life, because we're all doing it. And so truly the representation of like the flower at the crown is what it feels like when your consciousness evolves. It's like a strengthening of the stem, and you're open to the universe. And so the steps with everyone's soul to do that is just be as grounded and honest as you can be with yourself, and be gentle internally and don't talk yourself down. Otherwise you're just going to talk yourself down, your consciousness, instead of this is all a learning progression. And the best I can do is just take my steps being honestly conscious. And therefore, I know as I do this, I will love being an example of this for other people's growth as well. And that's meaning and purpose, because that's when our souls really flourish, because they've taken on like that golden veined stem of the flower. They've taken on a deeper root system, feeling, belonging, of being here. So it's all very sacred and nourishing if you do take the time for appreciating the whole view. That's really all I wanted to say. Let's take a whole view next time we feel limited. Let's take an internal grounded stance that we can receive more rather than be grounded in a way that we don't move forward. I mean, everything's naturally constantly moving, but humans can feel like different states of not moving forward. And it's all just very blinding of the truth. So that's why connection is important, because you can easily connect with the simplicity of life in people through a smile, hellos, a touch, a little conversation, and then it's going to get you on your way again. Because it is your inner strengthening. No God is coming to save us. We are God energy. We've come to live God energy via this whole design. And so this channel talks about that as much as possible. I'll leave it there. God bless everyone. Bye for now.